Hi everyone, I'm Chipper and welcome to the fifth episode of our series Elephants in the Room. Over the next 5 weeks in this month of August, we will dive deep into some of the most pressing and often overlooked issues in the workplace. Today we're starting with a crucial topic, salary transparency. Let's explore what it means, why it matters, and how it impacts us all. Salary transparency refers to the practice of openly sharing information about wages, salary, and compensation packages within an organization. This can range from disclosing individuals' salaries to publishing general salary bands for different positions. The goal is to promote fairness, reduce wage gaps, and foster trust within a workplace. By implementing salary transparency, organizations aim to create an environment where workers feel valued and equitable pay practices are upheld. Transparency in salaries can help to eliminate wage discrimination and create a culture of accountability and fairness. Furthermore, it helps workers understand their value within the organization and the broader market itself, empowering them to negotiate better pay packets and benefits. Salary transparency is known by other terms in different countries. In the United States, it's often referred to as pay transparency, while in the UK and Australia, it's commonly called wage transparency. In Canada, the term compensation disclosure is frequently used, and in South Africa, it is known as remuneration transparency. New Zealand often refers to these practices as open pay policies. Despite the different terminologies, the underlying principle remains the same, ensuring openness and fairness in compensation practices. These practices are fast becoming increasingly important as more countries and companies recognize the benefits of transparency in fostering a fair and inclusive work environment. Salary transparency is a globally relevant issue as wage disparities and lack of transparency in pay structures are common challenges faced by workers worldwide. The push for salary transparency has gained momentum in recent years, with many countries implementing laws and regulations to promote pay disclosure. For example, in the European Union, the Pay Transparency Directive aims to address gender pay gaps and promote equality in the workplace. Similarly, various states in the United States have enacted laws requiring employers to disclose salary ranges in job postings. These global efforts highlight the importance of salary transparency in achieving fair and equitable compensation practices. Companies like Iceland and Sweden have also been leaders in this area, implementing strict regulations to ensure pay equity. In the UK, the introduction of the Gender Pay Gap Report regulations in 2017 has been a significant step towards promoting salary transparency. Employers with more than 250 workers are required to publish their gender pay gap data annually. This has increased awareness and accountability, pushing companies to address pay disparities. In Africa, salary transparency is gaining attention, although it's still in its early stages. South Africa, for instance, has made strides with the Employment Equity Act, which aims to eliminate unfair discrimination in the workplace and promote equal opportunity. Additionally, companies across Africa are beginning to recognize the importance of salary transparency in attracting and retaining talent. By adopting transparent pay practices, organizations can build trust with their workers and create a more equitable work environment. Salary transparency can have significant sociological effects on both workers and organizations. For prospective workers, transparent pay practices enhances trust in the organization and reduces social disparities. When workers know that they're being paid fairly compared to their peers, it fosters a sense of equity and belonging. This sense of fairness is crucial in building a positive workplace culture where employers feel respected and valued for their contributions. For instance, companies like Buffer in the United States publicly share their salary formulas and have seen positive outcomes in terms of employee satisfaction and trust. By making salary information available, Buffer has created an environment where workers can openly discuss and understand how their compensation is determined. This transparency eliminates suspicion and jealousy among workers, promoting a collaborative and supportive work environment. Moreover, workers are more likely to stay with a company where they feel that the pay is just and transparent, reducing turnover rates and saving the organization the costs that are associated with rehiring and training of new staff. In the UK, the company Grant Thornton has also adopted transparent pay practices. By disclosing salary ranges and promoting open discussions about compensation, Grant Thornton has fostered a culture of trust and accountability. Workers at Grant Thornton feel more engaged and valued, knowing that their pay is fair and based on clear criteria. This has not only improved employee satisfaction, but also has enhanced the company's reputation as an ethical and equitable employer. Similarly, in Africa, the South African financial services company called First Rand has made strides in salary transparency. First Rand's commitment to fair salary practices includes regularly reviewing and publishing salary data to ensure equity. This openness has helped reduce pay disparities and build trust amongst its workers, contributing to a more cohesive and motivated workforce. The company's efforts have been recognized as a model for other organizations in the region, demonstrating the positive impact of salary transparency on organizational culture and employee morale. Transparent pay practices also encourage organizations to be more accountable for their compensation decisions, leading to fairer pay structures and reduced discrimination. When pay scales and decisions are open to scrutiny, it becomes harder for biases to influence compensation. This accountability can help address systematic issues such as gender pay gaps and racial pay disparities. For example, a study by the Institute for Women's Policy Research found that pay transparency can reduce the gender pay gap by ensuring that women are paid equally for equal work. Additionally, public sector organizations, which often have more transparent pay structures, tend to exhibit smaller gender pay gaps compared to private sector organizations. This openness can also reduce turnover rates as workers feel more valued and less likely to leave for other opportunities. Knowing that their employer is committed to fair and transparent pay practices can significantly increase employee loyalty and engagement. When workers believe that they're being compensated fairly, they are more likely to be motivated, productive, and contribute positively to the organization's success. Furthermore, organizations that are transparent about pay are often seen as leaders in ethical business practices, which enhances their reputation and also helps them to always attract top talent. Overall, salary transparency not only benefits individual workers, but also strengthens the organizational culture and performance. It promotes trust and accountability and fairness, which are essential for creating a positive and inclusive work environment. By adopting transparent pay practices, organizations can address social disparities, reduce discrimination, and build a more equitable and cohesive workplace. So, let's discuss some of the common issues that come up and what their impacts are. Gender pay gaps are a major concern that salary transparency aims to address. Women on average earn less than men for performing the same roles. According to the World Economic Forum, women in the United States earn 82 cents for every dollar earned by men. This gap is even wider in some other countries. For instance, in the UK, the Office of National Statistics reported that the gender pay gap among all workers was 15.5% in 2020. In South Africa, the gender pay gap stands at around 23%, according to the International Labour Organization. Transparent salary practices can help highlight these disparities, making it easier to implement corrective measures. By publishing salary data, organizations can identify and address gender pay gaps, promoting fairness and equality in the workplace. In Nigeria, for example, gender pay gaps persist across various sectors, with women often earning significantly less than their male counterparts for similar roles. The National Bureau for Statistics reported that women in Nigeria earn about 79% of what men earn. highlighting that the need for transparent pay practices to address these disparities is needed. Transparent salary practices can play a crucial role in highlighting these discrepancies and driving efforts to ensure equitable pay for all workers. Another common issue is discrepancies in job offers, where different workers are offered varying salaries for similar roles. This can lead to feelings of unfairness and resentment among workers, negatively impacting morale and productivity. For example, a study by PayScale found that 63% of men and 52% of women believe that they're paid less than they deserve, which can lead to disengagement, higher turnover rates as well. Transparent salary practices ensure that all workers are aware of the pay scales and criteria for salary determination, which can help in standardizing compensation practices and reducing disparities in offers. In the United Kingdom, companies like the BBC have faced scrutiny and backlash for pay discrepancies among their staff, which has prompted them to commit to more transparent pay structures to rebuild trust and improve employee morale. Hidden policies are often a significant problem in many organizations. When workers are not allowed to discuss their salaries or when salary data is not disclosed, it creates an environment of secrecy and distrust. Workers may suspect that they're being underpaid compared to their peers, leading to dissatisfaction and low morale. According to a survey by the Institute of Women's Policy Research, about half of the workers in the United States are either discouraged or prohibited from discussing their pay with their colleagues. This lack of transparency can perpetuate pay inequities and hinder efforts to promote pay equity. Transparent salary practices can foster a culture of openness and trust, where workers feel confident that they're being compensated fairly. In South Africa, the Basic Conditions of Employers Act aims to address such issues by promoting fair labour practices, yet enforcement and adherence remain a challenge without transparency. The impacts of these issues are far reaching. Gender pay gaps contribute to economic inequality, affecting women's financial stability and career progression. Women who are underpaid are less likely to have savings and investments, impacting their long term financial security, often leading to poverty. Discrepancies in job offers can lead to high employer turnover, as talented workers may leave organizations in search for fairer pay elsewhere. This can be costly for organizations, both in terms of recruitment expenses and the loss of institutional knowledge. Hidden salary policies can damage the overall workplace culture, leading to disengaged workers who are less likely to be productive and committed to their work. In Kenya, for instance, the gender pay gap not only affects women's financial independence, but also their ability to contribute to economic growth, highlighting the broader implications of this issue. Moreover, the lack of salary transparency can also affect an organization's reputation. Companies known for unfair pay practices may struggle to attract top talent, as prospective workers are increasingly looking for employers who prioritize fairness and transparency. In a competitive job market, organizations that fail to address these issues may find themselves at a big disadvantage. By implementing transparent salary practices, organizations can enhance their reputation as fair and equitable employers, attracting and retaining top talent. For example, in the UK, the introduction of the gender pay gap reporting has pressured companies to be more transparent about their pay practices, which in turn has encouraged them to take steps towards closing these gaps. In conclusion, addressing common issues such as gender pay gaps, disparities in job offers, and hidden salary policies through transparent salary practices can have significant positive impacts. It promotes fairness and equality in the workplace, it improves employee morale and productivity, it reduces turnover rates, and enhances an organization's reputation. By making salary data accessible and ensuring that compensation practices are fair and transparent, organizations can build a more equitable and cohesive work environment. In Africa, organizations like First Rand are leading by example, demonstrating that transparent pay practices are not only feasible, but also beneficial for both the workers and the organization. So, Let's discuss some practical solutions and recommendations for organizations to address these issues. Firstly, implement clear pay structures to establish transparent salary bands and publish them internally. This approach ensures that every worker understands the pay ranges for different roles and can see how their compensation compares to their peers. Secondly, conduct regular pay audits by regularly reviewing and adjusting salaries to address disparities and ensure that pay practices are fair. This helps identify and correct any wage gaps that may exist within an organization. Thirdly, promote open discussions about pay to encourage a culture where workers feel comfortable discussing compensation without fear of retribution. Open communication about pay helps to demystify compensation practices and promotes fairness. 4. Provide training for managers to equip other managers with skills and knowledge needed to make equitable pay decisions. Training on unconscious bias and equitable pay practices reduces discriminatory pay practices. 5. Ensure accurate job descriptions to make sure that job descriptions are accurately reflecting the duties and responsibilities for the role. This helps ensure that workers are compensated fairly for the work that they will do. Utilize salary benchmarking tools to analyze pay data and also look at compensation. 7. Engage workers in the process to involve workers in the development of pay policies and practices. This can help to build trust and ensure that pay practices are aligned with employee expectations and organizational values. And that's a wrap for today's episode. We have looked at salary transparency, its global relevance, sociological, psychological effects, and some common issues and solutions. Over the next few weeks, we will dive deeper. Next week, we will look at gender inequality. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to follow our LinkedIn page. If you have any questions, comment below. If you want to be a podcast guest, email me at the address below. See you next week.